Parents, how do you handle things when your child comes home with math homework that makes no sense to you whatsoever? Stick around as we tackle that topic today. Hi, I'm Rebecca, and welcome to the Parent-Teacher Bridge, where you can find the ideas and resources you need to empower you to be your child's most influential teacher. Today, I'm talking all about the frustrations that you have when your child comes home with math homework and it looks totally foreign to you. And there's a lot of frustration between you and your child, and maybe even your child's teacher, on how to get that homework completed. But before we get started, make sure you click like and subscribe so you can be notified each time I upload a new video. And don't forget to check out my free guide, 5 quick tips to immediately help your struggling reader. I'll leave a link in the description below. Let's talk about how frustrating it is when your elementary age child comes home from school with math homework and you have no idea what to do on it. You know, we live in an age of information, and while I realize that not everything on the internet is true or good, it does provide a way that we can find some solutions. So let's say your child's teacher has sent work home for your child to complete that is math, and you don't understand the way that it is done. Maybe there's not a book for you to refer to. Maybe there's not an example problem for you to figure out what way are we supposed to do this. Let's think. Okay, well, you can look at the bottom or top of the page and see if there is a company name or a certain code that you can look it up. If you can find out what curriculum this page has come from, then you can do your own little search for that and see if you can find some solutions. That may be a teacher on YouTube explaining how to do the lesson. That may be an answer key that can help you as the parent figure out how to do it. The other thing I would suggest is to reach out to your child's teacher. Whenever I had a true, caring, involved parent send me a note to school that was kind and respectful, that said, I tried to help little Susie with her work, but we ran into a roadblock, but I did want you to know that we tried, and I'd rather you not, make her suffer any punishment. I'm open to ideas. If you would like to call me or email me, here is my contact information. So whenever that was the case, I didn't punish the child for not getting the work done as long as the parent sent a note that explained the process, because that's the parent. That's the one ultimately in charge. I'm just the teacher, and my job was to make sure that I taught what was expected of me. But ultimately, the parents are responsible at home for making sure that the child does the homework and is supportive. And that's hard to do when you don't understand what's going on. Now, I'll have people come to me for tutoring services from time to time, and I agree with them that it's frustrating, and they'll talk to me about all the struggles that they are having, and I'll ask them, have you spoken to the teacher? Have you had a specific conference? And what I want you to know, parents, is that it is completely acceptable for you to have a conference with your child's teacher before waiting until the next 6 weeks conference or the next 9 weeks conference. Parents can schedule a conference with their child's teacher anytime that they need one. You just have to line up a time that works for both of you. If that's not working very well and you have a teacher that's not working with you, that's where you may need to get the principal involved. But you as the parent have that right, and I want to encourage you to do so, that you don't have to wait 6 to 9 weeks for that. And as the teacher, can you show me a little bit about this program, about this work? What are your expectations? We're hearing our child saying this, but we want to verify that what our child is saying is correct and accurate. Sometimes with young children especially, things get lost in translation, and our child comes home and tells us one thing, but it's kind of misinterpreted from what the teacher had told them. Another tip to help elementary age children with their math homework when they're frustrated is to pull out math tools. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times, from what I'm seeing as a tutor, the curriculum that is being used in the schools, it's asking the children to learn certain abstract concepts mentally when they haven't experienced them yet in a concrete, physical way. So I always encourage the parent that if they can have any sort of number blocks or cubes to help their child count, that will help. So one example that I've used before are called base 10 blocks. This is a 10 stick. This is a ones cube or a ones unit. And 10 of these will make a tens block. And you may have used base 10 blocks when you were in school. If you would like to order them, I'll leave a link in the description below, but there are multiple places online where you can order these, and you can even try some that are virtual online. Obviously, you can't physically touch them, but you can probably move them around on a screen. Now, for a child who's writing a number like 13 and they are putting the 3 first, and so it's actually 31, this can help clear up those misconceptions that a child is having. It's called studying place value. Now, another thing that you might want to try is using a number line. Children love to look at letters on the wall. So when they're writing letters backwards, if the teacher has letters on the wall, they have something to refer to. Same case with using a number line. If a child has a number line in front of them, they can see which numbers are larger and which numbers are smaller. They can even learn to add or subtract on a number line. So when I'm talking with parents on what they can do at home when they run into some frustration with their child not understanding, is to slow down and incorporate more math tools. And if you don't have those immediately available in your house, just remember small objects, even if they are some dried beans, can work quite well when you are learning to count and compare numbers. If your child has an overwhelming amount of math problems that they need to do, you are allowed to skip around and say, let's come back to this one later and do the ones that you can do. Your child's teacher wants to see that you are giving it your best shot. And if you have to leave some problems empty because you don't know what to do, you might want to try to have your child try something and then leave a little question mark there and send a note in and say that we tried our best. Can you please go over this with us? If you can't find a time to meet with your child's teacher, ask her or him if he can refer you to a specific video online that might explain to you how to do the process a certain way. And one other question that parents often ask me in a tutoring environment is, why are they having my child work the problem that way when they could just do it this way and solve it much more quickly? And usually they're wondering why the child isn't being taught the traditional way of adding or subtracting or something else. That is a valid question, and you are allowed to ask that question. One thing that I see coming up in some of the curriculum that is brought to me from the schools, both private and public, is that they expect the child to do something in an abstract way before they really have a true concept of it in a concrete way that is hands-on. So it's okay to ask your child's teacher that question and work out some sort of plan where you can meet in the middle and help your child improve. Some parents like to seek outside intervention by hiring a tutor or by working with their child over the summer through various workbooks. And all of those are great ideas. Math builds on itself, and usually they use the first part of every school year to review things from the previous year. So it's possible to get a little bit rusty on some of those math facts, and that can reflect in the child's work as well. So if you want to go the extra mile and try some of those things, that's usually not a bad idea to do that. Another thing to keep in mind when you are frustrated, it's okay to be frustrated, but you might have to tone it down a bit since you don't want to give your child a bad feeling about math. So many children have this, and they grow up thinking that they can't do math because their parent has said, well, I never was good at math either, and I hate math. It's okay for them to know that math doesn't have to be their favorite subject, but try to tone down the amount of negative talk that you do in the presence of your child. And you also want to build up your child's confidence in their math skills by bragging on them and giving them verbal praise. You did that really well. Or before you tell them what they did wrong, you might want to say, I really like that you did that. That shows me that you understand this or that. Remember, next time you might want to try this Another thing to keep in mind, if your child is solving a problem and you want them to try something on their own to see if they get it, don't interrupt them. If you've told them, try this one, then you need to let them try that problem. You can stand nearby and you can watch them, and likely you will make observations about what they may be doing correctly or incorrectly, and you can go over that with them after they solve the problem. You can also ask questions like, oh, wow, I see that you wrote it this way. Why did you decide to do that? Ask them in a nice way, in a patient way, and above all, if you need to take a break and walk away, feel free to do that. You know, we homeschool and sometimes we hit a wall with a certain subject, and I give my children the choice of, hey, do you want to come back to this later? We can take a break and do this other subject, and then we can come back to this later. So that may be an idea as well. Don't forget to contact your child's teacher. They need to know the answers to these things. They are getting paid to teach your child. And if they don't know the answers, they can take it to someone higher up. Don't wait until the year is mostly gone before you get your child help. Math builds on itself. So if your child is struggling with math in second grade, they're going to be struggling with it in third grade and the next as well. I hope these tips helped you. If they did, leave a comment below about what's something you might try in the future to help your child with their math work when things get frustrating. Don't forget you can check out the Parent Teacher Bridge on Facebook and Instagram. And remember, you are your child's most influential teacher.